Come on. What's up guys, my name is Marc Steiner and today we are talking about why I am returning my 2018 maxed out Core i9 MacBook Pro. The biggest reason by far why I'm returning this computer is because of the thermal throttling of the Core i9, which makes it just absolutely pointless for what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to buy an all-in-one device that can handle whatever I throw at it, and clearly this isn't the computer because it's not even hitting its base clock speed, let alone the speeds that Apple says it's capable of getting to when under heavy duress, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing video editing and photo editing. So it doesn't keep up to the pace that I need it to keep up with, and for that price, it should be able to do whatever I'm doing. But unfortunately, Apple once again has done form over function, and in order to get everything looking that sleek and that small of a package, the thermals are just not there, and you can't cool something that's just not, it's just, they can't do that in a firmware update, you know? Like I was like, oh, initially they might be able to ramp up the fans and whatnot. No, this is literally like, this laptop is too thin, it's aluminum, it's going to heat up, and they can't do anything about it. However, if you were to get the Core i7, it does perform much better, it does reach what it's supposed to be doing, but the Core i9 for me seems very gimmicky of Apple to be saying. It seems like, hey, we're allowing you to get the top chip in your laptop, but it's not capable of reaching its full potential because of thermal throttling. Alright, so quick update to this story. I actually did some more tests on the laptop before I returned it. I have since returned it. And while doing some more testing on the laptop, I actually edited and exported this video that you're seeing now, besides this little update, on both laptops, both the 2018 and the 2012. And I found that the export times, which you can see here, were not that different. There was only a difference of about 1 minute and 20 seconds between these two very different computers, one being top of the line modern day and one being semi-decent 6 years old. So I was very disappointed with this because the tech has come so far, and to see that the export times are not that different after 6 years is really disappointing. And yes, this was after the Premiere update. I updated it on both computers, which had better support for H.264 files, which is what my Sony a7R III is actually producing. So it was really sad to see that. I will say that playback was much better on the 2018 MacBook, and I can actually render, export, and edit files in 4K on the 2018. That's something I can't do on the 2012. But since this was a test of my current workflow and all my videos are being exported at 1080, this was just really sad to see. So I was very disappointed seeing that with 6 years of upgraded tech, the difference is very minute. I think that's really unfortunate in a computer like this because it is a great machine, don't get me wrong, but it can't keep up with what I want it to do, and I can't futurify this device for the next 6 years if it's not going to keep up with what I'm trying to do right now. The final update I wanted to say about this story is that while doing some more testing as well and just daily use, I found that the screen on the 2018 MacBook would start to glitch out while watching YouTube and Netflix. And you can see I have some video footage here. The screen would go green and start glitching out, and you could usually resolve this issue by moving the mouse or restarting the application. I was mostly using Google Chrome. Also, occasionally the audio would just like stop working, and then the video would just freeze up even though it said it was continuing to play. And so again, a restart usually would fix that issue. I also found that while I was on iMessage and I was texting with my friends, and this same weird glitchy effect would happen, but it only seemed to happen when we were sending GIFs to one another, and yes, I said GIFs. So it was weird that that was happening. You could usually fix it by moving the mouse or restarting the application. Only once did I need to restart the computer for it to actually do what it needs to do, but the fact that these like minute glitches are happening on a $4,000 machine are absolutely ridiculous, and this is a professional grade machine with professional grade parts with a professional price tag, so these little glitches should not be happening in this kind of machine. Now onto the more nitpicky things of why I'm returning this laptop. So Apple has updated the screen, but I'm coming from a 2012 MacBook Pro with Retina display. The first generation Retina display. It came with 8 GB of RAM. I did a whole video on it, check it out. But one of the things for that was that it's still the same display, it's still the same resolution. The only major difference is they've changed the color a little bit and they've increased the brightness, and now with this latest gen MacBook Pro, it comes with True Tone. But since I'm a photo and video editor, I don't use that because it messes with the color temperature of what I'm trying to edit, so it's usually off, so that doesn't affect me. I've also noticed that this screen, although brighter than my 2012 model, does seem to be like artificially brighter. It doesn't feel like it's naturally brighter. It feels like they're pushing the limits of what the screen is capable of doing at the detriment of actual color accuracy, because when I'm editing on my old laptop, things look color accurate, and when I send them to my phone, everything looks fine. But when I'm editing on this new laptop, things seem just a little bit washed out and the colors seem a little bit off, and when I send it to my phone, it just seems a little bit brighter than it should be, so I don't know what the issue with that is at all. Another thing for me was the keys. They have updated it with this cell membrane, so dust is harder to get into, but I'm so used to like a decent amount of travel on my 2012 laptop, it feels very weird to have minimal travel when typing as well as editing. Also, the configuration of the up, down, left, right keys is also very weird to get used to. I think with time I could, but since I'm returning it, I'm not going to. The touch bar I also feel like is very gimmicky, and this is something that I felt like since 2016 when they announced these new computers with the touch bar. I think it's cool, but it doesn't work the way I need it to, and I just find it like I'm going through menus to reach the pause play button that I could already do with a hard key on my previous laptop. I will say the fingerprint scanner is very cool. I think that is great, and I wish that more laptops did that, and we'll be seeing that more from Apple down the line. It's also unfortunate they have not updated the camera on this computer, so when you're doing FaceTime, it's still a 720p camera, and it's 2018, you know, like that should have been resolved by now. The fact that we're able to get 4K 60 on our iPhone 10 and not even 1080 on a laptop webcam is kind of annoying. Also, they did not shrink the borders on this laptop, so it's not that like nice infinity edge laptop display that we're all wanting for 2018. Another big thing for me was the ports. As a content creator, I am constantly going back and forth between hard drives, my SD cards from my camera. I'm using a lot of different things, and although USB-C is great, it's just a massive pain to have to plug in a dongle or like a USB-C dock in order to use those things that I could just plug into on my previous laptop and go without having to have an additional accessory to do that. So that slows down my workflow, and it's just a little bit annoying, but I think the future obviously is USB-C, and I'm a huge fan of that. It's just that currently I could do with USB-C. I just think it would be really nice if they had an SD card on this computer, because a lot of content creators still use SD cards, and with a lot more cameras becoming mirrorless, SD is going to continue to grow on the rise instead of the bigger CF cards that we're seeing on bigger cameras. Also, with the new T2 chip, you're able to have Siri on voice command, which I found to not be accurate whatsoever. I found that even though my iPhone was across the room, every time I tried to trigger Siri, it wouldn't come up on the laptop, but my phone in the corner of my room would pick it up. So I thought that really was a huge pain, even though Siri is already not such a great voice assistant, that it wouldn't even pick up when the microphones are right in front of me, but my phone across the room could do it. So that just seems unfortunate. So update to the Siri voice command, I found that when I was trying to trigger the Siri via the computer and my phone was in the room, it wouldn't work. So I tried testing it with my phone either off or in another room where it couldn't pick up my voice, and the Siri voice command actually worked very well on the 2018 MacBook Pro. It just kind of sucks that for whatever reason Apple is always prioritizing the phone, so if you have them like a normal person side by side on your desk while you're working on a laptop and your phone so happens to be 3 feet away or 1 feet away, it's always going to prioritize the iPhone. So if you're trying to say, Siri, do something on my laptop, it's not going to trigger. So you have to either turn your phone off or on Do Not Disturb, or put it in another room for your laptop to actually pick up the voice commands you want it to do on your laptop. All in all, this is kind of just a disappointment from Apple. I was really excited because we finally got a computer that had 32 gigabytes of RAM as well as a Core i9 chip. I was like, great, this is exactly what us creatives want in a computer, an all-in-one that's super powerful, that can handle whatever we throw at it, and it's mobile, but the fact that it's not keeping up to the performance we need and has one of the heftiest price tags on the market for performance that it doesn't even deliver is a huge letdown. Apple has been working with creatives the past couple of years because that initially was their user base, professional creatives who needed hardcore power, and that was why people bought Apple, convenience and the fact that it got the job done. But now it feels like Apple has diluted their products so it just hits the mass market and doesn't allow us creatives to create what we need to do. With the Mac Pro, they've been trying to get all these creatives together and make them see their workflow, try and destroy all the bottlenecks, and figure out what hardware works best for their workflow. But again, it just seems that they fell very short with this iteration of the MacBook Pro, and I hope that on the next generation they fix this thermal throttling issue, as well as give us back an SD card slot, because that would be so helpful for a lot of creatives out there, especially on a mobile device such as a MacBook Pro. But right now, in 2018, the MacBook Pro maxed out falls very short of expectation, and I have no choice but to return it and get my money. And hopefully they'll announce some better desktop grade things in September, and hopefully we'll get a sneak peek into the Mac Pro, which I know a lot of people have been waiting for. Alright guys, that's it for me. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're interested by this, if you're an Apple fanboy and feel like completely roasting me about this, or if you're a PC Master Race person and you're wondering why I spent that much money on an Apple computer. My name's been Marc Steiner, and I will see you next time.